Do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his
What's
oligarchs.
up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down a masterclass in how to deal with a professional gaslighter. You've probably seen this clip making the rounds already. Senator Bernie Sanders, who's been living on the taxpayer's dime longer than most people watching this have been alive, decides to use a Treasury confirmation hearing to lecture a nominee about wealth inequality. Bernie pulls out the same tired script he's been reading for decades. 3 billionaires have all the money, America is an oligarchy, and somehow the solution is always more government power. Same socialist song, same talking points. Billionaires bad. Big government good. What Bernie clearly didn't expect was for Scott Bessent to come prepared with something called logic. Watch Bernie's expression when Bessent calmly reminds him that the people Bernie loves to demonize are the ones who actually built things. While Bernie spent his career in politics, these individuals were creating companies, technologies, and jobs that keep the economy moving. Pay close attention to how Bernie tries to set a trap using Joe Biden's own words and then watch as Bessent flips it right back on him. This exchange is a textbook shutdown.
Mr. Bessent, the United States today has more income and wealth inequality than has ever existed in the history of our country. You got three people on top, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg, who are now worth almost $1 trillion. That is more than half of the bottom of our society, some 170 million people. Three people, more wealth than the bottom, 170 million. We have more concentration of ownership today than we have ever had. We have more concentration of ownership in the media, where a handful of billionaires like Musk, Bezos, Rupert Murdoch increasingly own the media and the information that the American people receive. We have a corrupt campaign finance system in which a small number of billionaires in both political parties make huge contributions into the presidential and congressional campaigns. When you have a small number of multi-billionaires who have enormous economic, media, and political power, would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights, and freedoms," end of quote. That's what President Biden said last night. I agree with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed our visit, and I hope you got my follow-up materials that on the discussion, my previous writings on the tariffs and China. And look, the three billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves. Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
I understand that, but what I'm asking you is, when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs. So
this is not a condemnation of any one individual. I'm just asking you, when so few people have so much wealth and power,
but
do you think that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Senator, I think it depends on the ability to move up and down the income.
No, that's not really the answer. I mean, even if you had that mobility, no matter who those individuals might be, All right, but let me ask you another question. Right now in America, we have over 22 million workers who are making less than $15 an hour, and nearly 40 million people in our country earning less than $17 an hour. Shamefully, the federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people here, have not been raised since 2009 and remains an unbelievable $7.25 an hour. Will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage to a living wage to take millions of Americans out of poverty?
Senator, I believe that the minimum wage is more of a statewide and regional issue.
So you don't think we should change the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Bessent, millions of working class Americans who are struggling to keep their heads above water are paying outrageously high interest rates on their credit cards. Over half the American people who take out new credit cards are being charged interest rates of over 24%. During his campaign, President-elect Trump promised that he was going to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. I happen to think that that is a very good idea, and I will soon be introducing legislation to do just that. Will you, as if you are confirmed, be supportive of what President-elect Trump said and what I want to see happen, and that is to cap credit card interest rates at 10%?
Senator, I think we can both agree that many credit card companies have been bad actors throughout history, and I will get back to you once.
Now, very simple question. Trump said he wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. I agree with him. Will you be supportive of what Trump and I would like to do?
When President Trump takes office, and if I am confirmed, I will follow what President Trump wants to do.
Unreal. Did you catch that? Bernie Sanders is sitting there, finger wagging, acting like success itself is some kind of moral crime. Right from the start, the tone is pure outrage theater. Let's talk about that oligarchy question. Bernie quotes Joe Biden calling the United States an oligarchy. Really, Bernie? The same Joe Biden you've been propping up and defending for the last 4 years. If this country is an oligarchy, maybe take it up with the guy in the Oval Office you've been carrying water for. And then Scott Bessent delivers an absolute clinic. He doesn't flinch. He states the obvious: Elon Musk is an immigrant. He came to America with a vision, worked relentlessly, and built world-changing companies. That's not an oligarchy. That's the American dream. Full stop. Then comes the knockout punch. Bessent points out that Biden himself awarded the Medal of Freedom to some of the very people Bernie is now calling dangerous oligarchs. Think about that for a second. You can't demonize these people on Tuesday and hand them medals on Wednesday just because the cameras are rolling. In about 30 seconds, Bessent exposed the rank hypocrisy of the Washington elite. Bernie tries to pivot classic move to the minimum wage. Same old playbook. One national number for the entire country, as if a small town in South Carolina has the same cost of living as Midtown Manhattan. That's not compassion, it's economic illiteracy. Bessent was absolutely right to point out that this is a state and regional issue. That's federalism, something Bernie might want to revisit if he ever finds time between visits to his 3 houses. Then come the credit card interest rates. Bernie is clearly hunting for a gotcha moment, trying to bait Bessent into breaking with the president's agenda. But again, Bessent handles it like a pro. He acknowledges there are bad actors in banking, something everyone already knows, without letting Bernie drive a wedge or hijack the narrative. Here's the bottom line. Bernie Sanders wants a country where everyone is equally dependent on the government. Scott Bessent wants a country where people can actually succeed by building things. And this hearing showed exactly why Bessent is the right choice for Treasury. He's calm, he's sharp, and he's not remotely intimidated by the socialist posturing of a man who hasn't worked in the private sector in over 50 years. Now I want to hear from you. Is Bernie right? Is America really an oligarchy? Or is he just angry that people like Elon Musk are more productive and more popular than he'll ever be?